AEW fans, welcome to the full AEW Collision review show here on the WWE Podcast. This is another Wrestle Magic, Wrestle Talk branded episode. It's your boy from H-Town, Rocky T, checking in once again here with the Louisville Slugger, the captain, Michael Gross, from the home of the blues and the birthplace of rock and roll, Memphis Mark. And joining us today all the way from the UK, Maintenance Maverick. What's going on, fellas?
Man, I'm living the dream over here, just having and enjoying a day off, and I'm going to have a great Collision review because I'm going to talk to my nephew, I'm going to talk to one of my best friends, and I'm going to talk to you. And so today we're going to give all of our listeners what they want, and that is going to be gold. And so I'm ready to rock this out. How about you guys?
Well, Rocky, here, bud.
Hanging it out here in the UK. Gotta love it, man.
It is Maintenance Maverick there, sir. How are you doing across the pond?
Can't complain. Just finished up watching AEW. Was entertained to say the least. Really enjoyed it. Happy to be back on the show.
All right. And we got Rocky in there to start. Rocky, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing good. Been busy at work, but happy to be here. I can't believe it's already a week since we did the last show. Like, the week flew by so fast. And I don't know if you guys saw it on AEW this week. There was a debut by Johnny Mundo, a.k.a. John Morrison, now known as Johnny TV. Did you guys catch that?
Dear Lord. Who wants to take this first? Maverick, Mark, anybody, take this, please.
Okay, Maverick, let's give him a chance since he is our guest from the furthest.
All right, so I'm sorry. Can you repeat that, Rocky? Did you say that he just made a debut?
He sure did.
Interesting.
Debuted at AEW.
There was a few months ago that I swear Johnny came on the show, and I swear he faced was it Samoa Joe for the TV title on AEW. I thought a long time ago. It had to be months ago. But
was that this year? Months ago this year?
I think
I think you're right. I think you're right, and I think it was the ring, but it might have been the Ring of Honor.
I think,
and he's been doing the AAA or Mexican wrestling with AEW. So, what do you guys know about this?
Man, I can say this: them bringing him on right now, I'm hoping that he's more on the creative side. Just my opinion.
I think he still has gas in the engine. I just think that he never had the right car to put that gas in. And that's the problem with his whole career, because you had to be a lackey to the Miz, which you might as well say, I might as well lick boots for the worst human being in the world. But, I just hate the Miz. Now, can I mention one thing real quick, Mr. Mark?
Man, please do.
Absolutely. So, Collision. I am not a big fan of the theme song. Okay. Saturday Nights for Fighting, whatever. Okay, I get it. It's supposed to be more real, whatever. But a better song would have been Faith No More's song Collision, which starts out with the word collision, and it starts out kind of muddy and sludgy, and then it just gets breakdown and crazy, and I think it would be great for a vignette. But that's just me. So, Mark, go ahead, sir.
No, I'm saying I like that, man. I just wonder if it had anything to do with licensing or something like that. But I hadn't even thought of that, actually, to tell you the truth.
Well, us old schoolers, we have a different style of music, and I think that they really wanted to go old school with this. I mean, obviously doing like Marauder's version of Midnight Express as a retread for FTR and stuff like that, which something where Wrestle Magic's going to get into here in a little bit with theme songs and music and wrestling is a whole sidebar. But the point is, I think it would have been a better intro, in my opinion. Now, if nobody's ever heard the song, just go ahead, get on YouTube and listen to Collision by Faith No More. I think it would be a much better, stronger intro, especially with vignettes and pictures of wrestlers and so on and so forth. But How did this action kick off today, Mark?
Man, I tell you what, we started off actually kind of strong, kind of old school a little bit. You know, they had CM Punk and Ricky Starks and FTR doing their promo against basically Jay White and Juice Robinson. They're not going to give the guns too much on the stick. But, I mean, just starting out, though, I kind of thought a little old school. I mean, what do you think there, Rock?
Honestly, guys, I missed the beginning of the show again. Just trying to get settled here. So, with us starting pretty much right after the show finished this evening, I didn't get to catch it. So, Maverick, did you catch it?
Yeah, I did catch it. So, seeing how it went, I really kind of enjoyed that they're just kind of going back and forth between the opponents and just having them both talk a little bit of smack on each other. I think it's a great way to start things off for almost any match. Kind of feels a little bit more realistic to just pan back and forth between the two, you know, and to start the show off like that between these two groups, it built up a little bit. I really enjoyed seeing the best of these two groups as mouthpieces just kind of jaw jack at each other a little bit, you know.
All right.
I agree. And one thing I'm going to say is that I think that Ricky Starks is definitely a star on the rise. And I've thought about that since when I first saw him on NWA Power, whatever you want to call it, 3 or 4 years ago. And what he's doing now is really good work. And I think that we'll talk about this later, but I think that they're creating a platform to elevate him. But I loved the way the jaw jacking was. I loved everything between the two. And, you know, it's what I'm seeing here, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong at any point, is the fact that you have the Golden Bullet Club. You have Juice Robinson, a guy that WWE missed the boat on. And you have Jay White, a guy that they basically could never have and Ring of Honor use, and, you know, kind of bounced around the indies and then really made his name as the third real leader of Bullet Club. This is an allusion to Bullet Club versus Punk, and the Elite were part of Bullet Club. So this is something I think that they're kind of trying to build a storyline to get the Bucks and to get Kenny Omega to come after Punk. Because I see kind of like maybe Sabian or who Mav, you would know better. Who was the Bullet Club hunter? Was it Kazarian?
Kazarian, yeah.
Yeah.
Kazarian,
so,
right.
And I could see Kazarian coming back and this kind of building a storyline, but I loved the illusions which is going on. But then I have to ask a question. Memphis Mark, I got to lead into you. I love you, bro. Tony Schiavone's in the ring. How old is he? He's got to be older than both of us.
Well, yeah. I don't think he's older than me, but thank you for the compliment. And but when you put now, Tony Schiavone got a lot of ring time tonight, and he started off. You know, they're going to bring out Sting and Darby Allin and unveil their tag team partner, and it all goes to heck when the Jericho Association Society shows up with this is one of the few times I'm not going to have to ask Rocky to help me with the name. This is
actually Michael's more of the Japanese name expert.
Oh, okay. Well, last week, Michael, Rocky stood in quite well for you on Andrade. But yeah, they're bringing them out. They got Suzuki coming out. They do this whole setup. You know, I kind of liked it. The way they got a little frisky with Tony. I mean, what do you guys think? We'll start off with maybe Maverick this time. Maverick, what did you think?
I thought it was kind of a nice touch just to see that they're going directly for Schiavone and just asking, hey, why don't you just tell us directly? And then here comes Darby Allin and Sting. That whole time I was kind of drawing a blank, but not seeing Sammy Guevara there, that made me raise the question, are they possibly going to replace him with somebody else that maybe Jericho or somebody has had a pass with, maybe has made amends with or something? What do you think, Mike?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a very interesting segment because you're right. Absolutely, you never have 3 baby faces against 2 heels. It does not make sense. Or 3 heels against 2 baby. It just, the whole dynamic did not work. So, he may be replaced, but here are the things that I was looking at. First of all, Naito comes out. Naito. If you guys don't know who Naito is, he has been a main eventer for New Japan for the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, he's a beast. He's amazing. But if you don't know what his character is, he is basically the character from the movie Old Boy. If you've never seen the movie Old Boy, you never will look at a hammer the same way again. Period. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, Mark?
Yes, sir.
And I'm not talking about the American version. I'm talking about the Korean version. He looks like him. He acts like him. The whole open your eye thing. That, when you open your eye like that, that is the Japanese version of giving somebody the middle finger. People don't know that. That is like a disrespect thing. So I want to say, like, looking at some of my notes, Jericho's starting to look like Stan Lane's skeleton. Yeah. And I miss Stan Lane. And you notice when Darby came out, he spit water into the air. Was that like a screw you Triple H kind of thing? Who knows? I don't know. Or it could be an homage. But there's no reason to have 2 people in a ring with baseball bats and you can't use it. That is overuse of gimmick, and that's what made this segment really, really bad.
I got a question. Is it really true that Jericho and Sting never been in the ring? Because they said that, and I'm kind of real fanboy of this rivalry that could at least get one match out of it. But is that a true statement?
I believe it is.
I believe it is too. Yeah.
Michael, do you know of anything in Japan?
So nothing in WCW?
No, I know. Yeah.
No.
I know. So I just think their careers did not coincide. Because Sting was making all that bank.
I've been meaning to make the time. I was trying to make the time to search it, but I was just going off what they said, and that fact, it just blows my mind to think that these guys have never faced off. They're both above 50, so can we say dream match, fantasy match? I mean, we have Fyter Fest and Fight for the Fallen are planned for July, but nothing's confirmed. And then the next big pay-per-view is All In August, which is essentially WWE SummerSlam time. So if they're planning for something, I mean, there's a couple pay-per-views on the horizon here.
And could they actually be doing the slow build? I mean,
I think so. Now, let me ask Mav real quick. So, do you think that with 2 baseball bats in the ring is too much gimmicks?
Well, I feel like the way that Jericho is using it is almost as if he's somewhat mocking, almost, with Sting having that as his iconic weapon that I swear he's used it in his WCW days back with NWO. So seeing with how this is all working out, I think that it's just going to be Jericho almost mocking Sting for most of this, and it's going to continue on for a little bit. I don't think it was too much, but it was kind of noticeable. Like, both of them are going to bring it in, but nobody's going to use it. I do kind of find that strange. I'm not a big fan of it, personally. What do you think, Mark?
Well, I grew up in the 70s, and if you saw 2 bats, it was a different. And did we get Rocky's side of this? I want to make sure we got Rocky's side of this.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying how much I'm just a fanboy of the fact that the match could happen. It's not going to be a great match by any means, but these 2, being the veterans that they are, can really tell a story, even if the in-ring is not, up to par of a 4 or 5 star match, but still very good storytelling. So,
yeah, absolutely agree. And guys, we go from that. We go into Swerve, and here we go, Michael, Rocky.
Tanahashi, I got this one.
Okay.
But actually, before that, we had the promo from Miro.
Okay, all
Um,
right. Well, look, let's just throw it to you, Rocky. Then, since you came up, you got the name first. You get to go first. How's that?
yeah. Okay. Well, first we're gonna talk about Miro's promo that would happen before the Swerve match, I believe. So, do you guys think now that he's saying that he's godless and he's not following anymore, does this make Miro more of a dangerous man than before, or do you think it's gonna affect him somehow in his winning ways?
Who wants to take it? I'll take it first if you want.
Yeah, go on down.
I'll take it. This is the best he's ever done in his career. And he can do nothing but go up from here because he was limited as Rusev. He was limited to kick, punch, body slam, and doing what Sheamus does, who's a talentless vacuum that just destroys your TV every day, that people try to convince you is Bruiser Brody, and he's not because he's not that good. Rusev, who's now Miro, is now coming into his own. He chain wrestles. He cuts his own promos. They're not that great. It's okay. But he is working hard. I can see that. I can respect that. And the fact that he's learning new moves, he's adapting and creating a character. He's not just, I'm Bulgarian brute. I am just tough. My wife is hot. He's doing something real. This guy's going to be on fire in about 2 years. That Michael Gross has promised you. He will be on fire in 2 years. It's going to take time to get that Rusev stank off of him. And all that Rusev day he was over. No, it wasn't. It was Aiden saying something that idiots in the crowd would listen to because they're Vince McMahon's sheep. Coming down to what it is, dude, he's going to be really good. Watching him wrestle now versus what he had to do in WWE is two different apples and oranges, and they're not even fresh and rotten. So I can't wait to see how he's going to develop. That's where I am with him.
Maverick, what you got on him?
So, watching this man's career, he has gone through a metamorphosis at this point. He is changing from what I considered the whole Rusev Day thing. I mean, it was funny, but to an extent, it was more or less a joke. Anything that, or anybody that acknowledged it or screamed it out at the top of their lungs, it was a walking meme to an extent. You could sit back and enjoy it and just kind of laugh at it, but there wasn't really any substance to it. And now I'm seeing him cutting that promo. It feels like he is trying to make himself a more serious character and show, yes, I am a threat now. This is what you wanted to see. This is what we needed for me to succeed. I feel like in the next year or so, he is going to be at the top, and it's going to be nice to watch somebody that went from WWE just kind of, once again, kind of like Sheamus, becoming who he really should have been the whole time. And maybe it was a training thing. Maybe it's just taking him a little more time to develop, but either way, I'm glad that he's really making his way up. Mark, what do you think?
Man, I think that's the one that got away from the WWE because they got him over and then they didn't do anything with him. They let him go to AEW. He has a built-in already kind of a following and he's starting to do something with it. So, I think that's the famous fish that got away. I mean, guys, that's the only way I can put it.
I hear you and I agree. And moving on from the promo, we get into the Swerve match with Tanahashi. So this for me was entertaining for me. I like the air guitar that Tanahashi does. If you guys didn't notice about me, I am the 2005 air guitar champion at my high school. So
No.
But yeah.
Shit
So basically, this was just a quality win for Tanahashi going into his AEW title match with MJF at Forbidden Door. I think Swerve still looked good in the loss. What do you think, Mav?
So, I'll be honest with you, the match, at certain points it was entertaining, but it was slow, and I felt like Tanahashi was sloppy during it. Seeing especially the frog splash at the end, God, it just didn't look right. And I feel like they cut the camera as quick as possible to a different angle because of how it looked. It just looked sloppy and kind of lazy. He didn't do the full extension. and the whole match looked kind of slow. I did think the air guitar was funny. I'll give it that. I kind of got a giggle out of it, but otherwise it was just an okay match. I didn't think Tanahashi really, went out and performed his best. What do you think was going on there, Captain?
All right, as the captain, I'm going to tell you straight up how I feel about this match. It elevated Swerve Strickland. And I've been a fan of him since MLW and, being Killshot and stuff like that. He's doing a hell of a lot better than Top Dollar. Wouldn't you guys agree? So we knew that Tanahashi was going to go over on this one because they're building for, Forbidden Door and everything else like that. Tanahashi looks like he's very well fed, according to my notes. He's looking like a star who's past his prime. And honestly, if I could have booked this, it would have went the other way. And I understand, I think Tanahashi's probably going to call it a day in a couple of years. But what I got from this was Velveteen Dream versus Aleister Black in NXT vibes, where Strickland got elevated. Because he carried this match. The jumping corner DDT, amazing. Covering for all the botches, amazing. Like Tanahashi falling on the ropes. And I'm a big fan of Eddie Guerrero and a big fan of Art Barr. Before he passed away, who was the guy who started the Frog Splash, which Eddie used. This was a 2-star Frog Splash. This was not a 5-star RVD Frog Splash. This was garbage. This match did not live up to what it should have been, but all it did was show the world that Swerve Strickland is going to be amazing. And you got to keep your eyes on him, and WWE screwed up by letting him go. What about you, Mark?
Oh, I was biting my lip on this one, and man, you nailed one of the deals on this. How about Swerve Strickland covering up for that botch on the top rope? He got the ropes, and this is one, it ends up being a theme for the night. We have some people that cover up for botches, and the other theme is what did you say earlier, Michael? Homage to past wrestlers. We'll get into it in a minute what I mean by that, but
yes,
yeah, it's a thing. But man, Swerve, and then he carries the match like you said, Michael, and then you hear the music and you expect the walk down, but we get an old fashioned Memphis send-in promo of MJF insulting everyone in Toronto and putting out the line, he's not on the level of the devil. I mean, we got to talk about MJF in here. Come on, let's start it off with Rocky.
I don't know. I feel like this guy can't do any wrong. I'm very worried that if he does end up coming to WWE, that he's going to be capped with his promos because of the PG rating. I know he gets away with basically murder over there, being the devil in AEW. I think this is going to be the quality win for MJF, going into this Forbidden Door match. I don't think he takes the loss here. I don't know much of Tanahashi's in-ring work too much, but based on what I saw, like I said, it was an entertaining match, but you guys were right with the botches, and that frog splash looked like he was missing one of his frog legs.
Oh, that is deep. But you're honestly telling the truth. I expected so much more from this match than I could ever say, and it really depressed me to see what I thought should be actually a pay-per-view quality match, or PLE. Sorry, Rocky, we did these shows.
Yeah.
Just bad. It was just bad.
5 years
Go ahead, Mr. Mark.
No, I was going to say 5 years ago. Tanahashi 5 years ago. Yes, Tanahashi pre-Swanson TV dinners.
Oh, dear Christ. That's a family dinner too. It's not just the Express, man. It's not Express. Matt, if you have anything to add on this?
Man, he's not performing like he used to. I remember a few years back, it was you, me, and your brother Tim who were watching Wrestle Kingdom, and I remember seeing him for probably one of the first times. I can't remember who he was up against, but I would remember thinking he may not be Okada, but he is still very good. But tonight it was disappointing. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about that, but MJF's promo, it helped take some focus away from everything that we had just saw, at least. The guy cut the damn
promo. Oh, yes.
I like that.
Dude, it was that, you can hear my papers ruffling, but I'm going to tell you, this is the reason why. Because MJF is hotter than hell in this industry right now. And he's great in everything he does, and he lives the gimmick. There is only a few people that gimmick. Mick Foley's book, he talked about DDP living the gimmick. DDP was okay, and he's doing great with his yoga and everything like that. He made a mark in wrestling, no pun, Mark. But he got his start at 43. I mean, it's so weird because he just kept trying and failing until he just would not stop. So MJF is doing it at a very young age, and that is scary because I love CM Punk. Imagine if CM Punk got the stick at 22. That's what you got with basically MJF.
Yeah. And that about Jake the Snake on living he used the room when he came in any territory he went to, he could just fit in. And I think that MJF is the type that if he was given in that territorial days, if he was given the mic and given the opportunity to cut a promo, he can do it in the ring. So I think he could, fit in, MJF could have fit in a lot of those territories. I mean, what do you think there, Michael?
Oh, hell yes. MJF could have been a Horseman. He could have taken Tully Blanchard's spot. Because there's only two people who could have taken Tully Blanchard's spot, and they could never fill it right. So that's when they start putting bricks in there, Barry, and they would put in Sid and stuff like that, and Lex. Well, that wasn't necessarily, that was also Ole's spot, but the point is, there was only so many people who could work with Horseman so good, and MJF and Gino Hernandez are the only two people I believe could be Horsemen. But that's not what we're talking about, so let's keep reviewing.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Yeah, you're right, Michael. I mean, we're easily but we go into, and here we go from last week. We got Brody King versus Rocky, please.
El Idolo Andrade. So let me get my notes real quick on this one. You can see his shoulder's still beat up. He's got the tape on the shoulder from last week's match with Buddy. Excuse me. That amazing moonsault from the top rope to the outside. A lot of punishment from Brody's part here, dishing it out to Andrade. He's got a 6-inch height on this man. And what really stood out to me was that Death Valley driver into the corner. And then that was followed by that full body rolling cannonball. DQ finish. Was not happy with it. I expected Andrade to maybe, get a roll-up win. Maybe Brody would hit his head on the pole or something like that with maybe a roll-up win. I didn't like a DQ finish at all. What do you think, Mark?
Well, I tell you, Andrade is just freaking looking great. And the angle with the match, I don't think Andrade's worked with a lot of times where he had to sell that. Because I think that was the only problem I had with him in the match, is kind of when they took the mask and he kind of stood up and then he backed up from the ropes a little bit, which gave Brody the room. And Julia, there was one time.
Julie Gross?
Yeah, well, Julia, when she had the mask outside the ring, there was a fan behind her doing bug eyes. It looked hilarious. Oh, man, come on, please, Maverick, save me. Save me, Maverick.
So I remember seeing it as well. I think the guy had red hair or something, and he's just staring into the camera over her shoulder. It looked like it was probably one of the goofiest things that I'd seen in the whole show.
No redheaded jokes. No redheaded jokes. No, I'm sorry, Maverick.
Well, look, can I segue, please, into this match? Because, first of all, some of the things that I saw in this match were really, really awesome. The slingshot chop to the chest to the floor. Have any of you guys ever seen that?
Man, I can't remember.
I don't think so.
Nope.
So he basically put the guy on the ropes and then just chopped the living snipes out of him, and he went onto the floor. Dude, that's something that Walter should do. It was amazing. And I'm like, wow, this match is really awesome. And then the Andrade Dragon Screw to the balls.
When his leg
I
was
don't know
out.
how to really say that. Yeah. That was awesome. Obviously the Death Valley Driver to the turnbuckle, and of course he's going to do discus clotheslines because Brody Lee used to do discus clotheslines. So Brody Lee, Brody King, got to keep it up. And do you understand why he had the mask? Do you guys understand anything about his past?
You know, I was actually wondering about that. And I was going to ask Rocky or you, one of y'all, off the air. So, please give me
refresh my memory.
I'll give Mav a shot. Mav, do you know anything about it?
So honestly, when I first saw the mask during his entrance tonight, I was thinking, that kind of looks like from the comic books of the DC brand. Kind of looks like Black Mask, the character. He's been a Batman villain a few times, but that's the only one that I really could think of. What do you got for us, Captain?
Well, so he not Japan, down in Mexico, he was known as La Sombra, and he always wore a mask to the ring, and it was a filthy, dirty mask like that, like something that would make you not sleep at night, okay? Now think about this, because he's feuding with people who are dark. So is he taking over? Anybody think about that tonight?
I like that.
That's why Julia Grosshart had that mask.
Not every pretty girl's last name is Gross.
I know. Well, hey, Kim isn't gross, right?
Right.
Oh,
that's supposed to be a laugh.
Well, look, we will segue to Michael not getting in trouble for marrying too many women to the new TNT champ, Luchasaurus. With Christian.
How did you cough through that? Keep going.
Yeah, I just Christian holding the belt. Okay, look, this was a building promo, and he is building on it. So let me see, Rocky, what you got on this one?
I love Christian. I always have. This guy sure does know how to work a crowd. I love his heel character. What stood out to me was pretending to know Kawhi Leonard, saying that they chat in reference to the title, and then telling him to leave town because the town is full of losers, and he's the best thing to come out of the country. Luchasaurus just stays there and says nothing. But Christian Cage is doing great work. Matt, what you think?
So I've also loved Christian for a long time. I think he's one of those competitors that he doesn't really get enough credit for things that he has done in the past. His work with Edge, he was always overshadowed by him, and maybe rightfully so to an extent, but I feel like he should have always had his own spotlight. He should have just been more recognized after his TNA days when he came back to WWE, because during his TNA era, he really did evolve in the ring. But so tonight, that promo, it was golden, in my opinion. He was doing great with it. He's playing a great heel. He's taking the credit, and it's hilarious. But I think this is going to lead into a feud between him and Luchasaurus eventually. Luchasaurus is going to get tired of it and seeing that his title is being, all the credit taken from him when he's the one who really did the work and everything. I think it's going to become a feud between them, and eventually they're going to go their separate ways. But for now, it's a pretty fun gimmick to watch right now. I'm really enjoying the storyline. Captain, what do you got for us?
I kind of feel the same way, but my whole thing with Christian Cage and Lucha is I don't know what's going to happen when Lucha actually has to do his own promo. So can you imagine that? Seriously, I mean, Mark, laugh because you know this business like I know it. The other side of it is the fact that there is a lot of talent there ready to explode. And I love this angle. This is actually real wrestling. We're going back to the 80s. They're taking the story back to like 83, 84 before the expansion. And it's a story. It's a story that we can sink our teeth into and have fun with. And so you also have to remember when Luchasaurus first came in, he was with Jack Perry, Jungle Boy, and he was with Marco Stunt. I guess nobody. And they could play like key factors and everything that goes down with this. And so I wouldn't be surprised if you see these people playing in or coming in or doing other things that, you're not really ready for on the storyline. But Christian Cage has wrestled what maybe a match? I think maybe he wants to be retired by Luchasaurus. Because he's at that point. And so if he's at that point, then he's really going to build a great storyline, and he is doing it. And I think his promos are gold. And I really think that if it's going to be his last blow-off, it's going to be one hell of a blow-off.
Well, the writing is on the wall for Lucha to come babyface out of this eventually. But we'll see in due time. Mark, what were your thoughts on it?
Man, I thought it was great. I thought the way he was always in Luchasaurus' camera angle. Every time only see the forehead and the hair and the shoulders, he was always, of course, holding the belt, having him hold him up on his shoulders. That's becoming a regular deal. And then the freaking crowd. He had the crowd eating out of his freaking hands. It was almost as bad as CM a little bit later on the opposite side, but he literally had the crowd. He built it up. Yes, he's from there, and then he tore their hearts off with saying that he had to leave there to be. So, if that ain't some old school stuff, I'll kiss your. And then they went into for the Owen Hart tournament, and they got everybody up in here. Now they got for the women's and the men's, but they gave the men's a little extra here in this. But kind of like the promo, kind of like it. I mean, what do you think there, Matt?
So as I was watching it, I was thinking kind of similar to the beginning. It's opponent versus opponent here. They're kind of jaw-jacking each other. I really like the way they're doing this. Building up, they're making you kind of want to see what kind of beef is going to come out of this when they go into the ring. How are they building this up against each other? They're not just tournament opponents at this point. They're starting to build small, I want to call it a sub-story to an extent. And I kind of like that they're actually making it seem like they know who they have to go against. They know they want to beat them somehow, and they have something to say about each of them. Rocky, what do you have to say about it?
I really like the promo. I really like how they strung storylines together. I got my money's on Hobbs. You're going to see him advance, and then I think Ricky Starks is going to advance, and then you're going to have a nice little match between them two. As we know, they used to be on the same team. Money's on Hobbs. Michael?
Honestly, I gotta say, I'm going with Hobbs too. And this is why, because this kid is so incredibly talented, and I don't understand when he was signed into like a developmental deal with WWE years earlier that they didn't utilize him to his full talents. And this guy has nothing but rise on his back. And that should be what is on his back, is rise. And Hobbs is going to do it. And like the smeared face when he smiles and everything else, he will do great as a face. When he turns heel, he'll still make a lot of money, but man, he's going to do it as the Owen Hart. It should be him. Starks, like, I want Punk out of it. I love Punk, but I think, like, they're going to do a schmaz where I think that two people will get disqualified, like two different, like, you know, count-outs or something like that to make the brackets break down more. And at that point, that I think that Hobbs has to take this. Hobbs is going to be a stud, and this is the way to start his real career. I mean, I think we got to put $1 million in his pocket. He deserves it.
To correct me if I'm wrong, the winner gets a commemorative title, because I remember Adam Cole and Britt Baker won it last year, but I don't remember them carrying the titles for very long, or at least showcasing them. Maybe a week or two after the tournament. So they went
King of the Ring sort of thing. Like, yeah, you get the crown, but you don't really have anything more than that small title to go with you wherever you go, and they'll announce it for a little bit, but eventually it'll be forgotten about type of thing.
Just a little legacy builder, like a little stepping stone type of deal.
I think so.
And the ladies, they're going to have, look, it looks like they're really pushing Sky Blue, and Anna Jay, possibly a dark horse in there. So, but we did have a quarterfinals match. Okay, and it was Willow Nightingale versus Nyla Rose, the ROH champ. You know, yeah. Okay, anybody say, please.
This was my Lunchable break, guys. So either Mav or Mike, y'all gotta take this one.
All right, I'm taking this one. So, from the beginning, the first time that I ever saw Willow Nightingale, I believe, was ROH Final Battle, the last pay-per-view where ROH still owned itself. I remember that night I said, this is what WWE wanted out of Nia Jax the whole time. Willow Nightingale is vastly better, and I believe that this match wasn't bad. I enjoyed the ring psychology that was being used. You see Nyla Rose from the beginning. She's going after the left arm, I believe it was, of Willow, and throughout it, Willow kept it like crimped to her side as if it was really bothering her. I hope she's not actually hurt. But, you know, I really enjoyed seeing just this match for things like that. And the fact that Willow could even do a cartwheel for her size, it's impressive to watch. This match, it was entertaining. I really enjoyed it. Captain, what do you think?
She's a Bam Bam Bigelow. Not even a Bam Bam Bigelow. I would say she was the Stone Mountain from Stone Mountain. Jerry Blackwell. Okay?
The Crusher.
No. The Crusher. Jerry Blackwell. Okay? This guy was amazing. If I say his name wrong, please correct me.
No,
Mark, you can. Yeah. Jerry Blackwell was Bam Bam Bigelow before Bam Bam Bigelow, and he was Vader before Vader. If you don't ever look up his AWA stuff, you're silly. He was the best. And that's what she did. And Willow was amazing tonight. She did the best she could. I don't think that this match really, it wasn't really that good, to be honest with you. It was, I would have put it on second card.
Mike, we got to pounce. We got to pounce.
Yeah, dude, no, I actually wrote this. The pounce was great and solid. So, you know, no, seriously, this is here. I can send this to you right now, and you know I can.
What she said, that's what she said.
Stop it. But brass tacks and baseball backs, when it comes down to it, the story was good. It just, something's lost in this match for me.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that there's no story.
And well, she won the belt.
That's where it is. Because we have belts, and we have champions, and it's just like we're wrestling. That's where I got lost. But the pounds, yes, it was amazing, and I do have that as a note.
You had Outcast run out, had Paige and Tony. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. So and Tony Storino and Sky Blue gets to do her little run out on there. And hey, now here's something we can all sink some teeth into. Scorpio. Excuse me.
Scorpio Sky. Yeah.
That was a great promo.
Dude, he looks so healthy.
I can see it. I mean, and look, I like him. I mean, Rocky, what do you think of him?
Well, just building on his promo from last week, like I said, this guy sounds confident. We know he's good in the ring. We know he's good on the mic. Another guy that they kind of started to push and then pulled back. But hopefully this time around he's going to be top contender. Mav, what do you feel about him?
So Scorpio Sky, I believe I've seen him live. That was years ago, 2018. It was a ROH pay-per-view called Masters of the Craft. I remember I really enjoyed seeing him with SoCal Uncensored. I'm still a fan of Scorpio Sky no matter what. I really like this promo for him. I think that it really is going to be the next step for him, just getting this push. He deserves it. He's a hard worker. He looked great today. He looked healthy, like Michael said. So, yeah, that's what I think of him. I think he's going to be doing great. And then we led into, I believe it was Powerhouse Hobbs match, correct?
Oh,
the squash match.
What a rush.
Powerhouse. Yeah, that is a squash match. Jabroni match is what I call them from the Jerry Lawler days. But it showed, it gives them a chance to get a little time on there, and they don't want to give, anybody that's not paying money a chance to see them really do something. So, I mean, that's the kind of way I look at it. I mean, Michael, how are you throwing this out there?
Look, he looked like a road warrior. Yeah. He looked like a road warrior. And that's what I want out of Powerhouse Hobbs. I want to see Powerhouse Hobbs having the AEW belt around his waist in about. If anybody has a problem with that, you come see me personally. You'll have to see Mark first because he'll take care of beating people up for me. Then you have to see Rocky. But brass tacks and baseball bats, dude, he looks great. He is amazing. I hated the fact that he's not part of Taz's team, and I think Taz was a great promo for him. Mm-hmm. But the smeared lip, everything he does, he is a very talented human being that is not getting the credit that he needs today, and he needs his credit. And honestly, I want him, we can do some squash matches, but at the end of the day, he needs to start, doing a Wardlow thing. Let me sidebar. Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, Beasts. Why are you not using them and utilizing them? That's all I have to say. Now, let me segue this real quick, is because I was watching this on Sling. All the, audio would not sync up with the visuals, so that made that very irritating. But they need to do this commercial for Joey Chestnut and, what was it? Nuts. He was doing, some kind of nuts. And it's okay, I met you, and yeah, you're a nice guy and everything else, but whatever. Okay. So.
A little off track there on your sidebar. Yeah, circle back.
Well, it was all about pistachio nuts, and it's just I know you could be out eaten by Patrick Bertolletti, who's a friend of mine. So, and he's number 2 to Joey Chestnut and their friends or whatever else. But okay.
Circling back, main event time.
Yeah, we will go from the nuts we will go into the main event.
All right, let's hit it.
It was a good one, guys. You got Jay White and Rock Hard Juice Robertson with that carny voice, and the Gun Club or the Guns against FTR, Ricky Starks, CM Punk. I mean, I'm just going to throw this out there first. What about the fan reaction with CM Punk? Maverick, you started off with us.
God, what a pop they had for CM Punk when he came out. It was nice to hear again after Chicago last week. You know, they're going to pop for him probably the loudest, especially at the beginning of the show. But something I noticed right before the main event had happened, they cut a quick commercial just for what's called Forbidden Door, and they were going through the match cards real quick, and they showed it was the match for Dustin Rhodes, and whoever it was that was making the call had said Dusty Rhodes.
There's Nigel McGuinness, yeah.
Yeah, I heard that.
Right.
That was good. You picked up on that. Wow. We're really trying to be buttholes. We just see all the little mistakes. I mean, we really aren't trying to bring them all up, but it is fun.
Right. So, getting into the match itself, God, I have one critique for the Guns. They need to stop overselling. My Lord. That's all I see out of them so often. You see a simple chop to the chest and the guy is flailing himself across the ring, falling on the ground, getting halfway up and laying back down. It is the most ridiculous overselling I've ever seen. I just can't take it anymore. But beyond that, the match itself was entertaining. I actually noticed at one point, Dax Harwood, he almost swung on a fan for a second, then he stopped, walked over and hugged him. I don't know if anybody else noticed that. Did you guys see it?
No, I did not.
Nope. I didn't either.
Nope.
Yeah, I saw it off on the side for just a second when everybody was outside the ring for that moment. The ref tried to separate all 8 members of the match. But yeah, I feel like the match told the story about CM Punk being kind of held in the ring a little bit just for the fact that he wasn't really used in the last match that he was in last week. I feel like that was a way to give the fans their time to see CM Punk for a little bit, and the team kept rotating, keeping him in there. Rocky, what did you think of the match?
You know what? I really enjoyed seeing CM Punk take a lot of the punishment. I noticed that as well. I like the trash talk by Jay White, in between, when they're doing the tags in and out. I really enjoy the trash talk. Jay White and Juice got a lot of offense in this match, that's just to the test of Punk being in there. And then the one thing I did see from Dax was, that awesome superplex from top rope on Juice. I love a great superplex.
Wow, that was good.
I do have one question though. Does anybody got money on a 5-on-5 for next week?
Shit.
I will say that I'm gonna go first next time because y'all are all good, man. You take away my notes, but please go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike. Take it on.
All right, so here's my thing. First of all, when we watched the match tonight with the main event, did anybody in their life see a better tornado DDT in their lives?
Oh, yes, I agree.
Best I've ever seen. I mean, and Juice is acting like Bruiser Brody. He's actually acting like Bruiser Brody. Oh God. He is trying to do it. It's so amazing, but I love it. I loved everything about everything that had happened tonight. My biggest problem tonight was it got flippy. And I think they did that just to laugh at WWE and AEW's BS and just say, hey, we can do whatever we want. I think tonight's show was amazing. I really think that. And I think that, the builds with the Owen Hart tournaments and, boys and girls, whatever, looking at my notes, everything was great tonight. Bringing out legends, talking about history, but just wrestling. It was wrestling. Do you know how much wrestling we watched tonight versus how much sports entertainment we had tonight? I don't, but I'm sure it's a lot more wrestling.
Well, I do got a question for y'all. Because next week is the first time that this is going to happen, and that's going to be where we have a WWE PLE on the same night as an AEW Collision. Now,
Ooh.
I'm wondering if, well, especially for the Big Four, which is SummerSlam, stack up with them being Saturday shows. But I'm wondering if AEW's mindset, what they're thinking is something along the lines that there's 12 WWE PLEs a year. So that's 40 weeks out of the year that they'll have an AEW Saturday night show, that there'll be no WWE wrestling. And that maybe they think that perhaps that the hardcore AEW fans will stay tuned into Collision on the WWE PLE nights, thus taking some viewership from WWE that would otherwise be watching if there wasn't a Collision on TV at all. So the question is, do you think that AEW, that their viewership for Collision was how do you think it's going to stack up against a WWE PLE night? Who wants to go first? Mike, you got any thoughts on it?
It's gotta be rough. That's all I can say. It's gonna be rough. I think that, we did this back in '92 with, Clash of Champions. They're something I'll message you about off screen or, off camera, whatever you want to call it. And I know Mark knows about this. Like, it was the big divide, and this is when pay-per-view got big, and this is some of the stuff that we talked about a long time ago. Yeah, there's going to be a big divide.
Yeah, I agree.
I do believe.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mark.
This is going to make or break on some of these, but I think that's what AEW signed up for. They wanted to get in the big water. They wanted to get in there with the sharks. So what better way to test your ability and to find out where you need to change or alter than to go against the big boys you're trying to beat? And that's my answer on that. But I do, I think Maverick still has to speak on this, but I do want to circle back on a comment on the last match if we get a chance.
All right. So,
Heads up.
Looking at how this is being played out, I think that it's a risk, but it's a worthwhile risk in my opinion. Yeah, you may lose some viewership on those nights when WWE has their events, but it's kind of what you're signing up for. It's better than being on Friday night or Monday night when Raw and SmackDown are going on. I actually kind of approve of this risk. I think it's one that's worthwhile. So, Mark, what did you want to go back on?
Man, I made these notes, and I have to make sure that, all right, first of all, did anybody see CM Punk doing the push-up after the first time he got out of the ring? He was trying to lose.
Does it look like me?
And did push-up. I didn't know if anybody saw that. And then there was after Jay, the first time Jay called out CM Punk like Rocky was talking about when he was trash talking, CM Punk did the Val Venus dance.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and then after that, he did
so random
Hogan leg drop. He did the Hogan homage to, time management, my ass. I'm sorry. And Cash almost flew over the ring and went into the crowd at one point in time. He was so fired up, going for one of his out tables through the ropes, and he jumped. He ran too hard because they don't have that much room, and he almost went into the crowd. I just little notes I thought, because it was a great match, but they were taking chances, and man, that's what you don't see in modern day wrestling nowadays. is people in the middle of a match taking it over and trying to sell or trying to get the best. Everybody's choreographed and they're only doing their own stuff. Man, this was, I guarantee you, Val Venus was not brought up in a meeting before.
Yeah, this is what I would say, is like, once this is published by Matt today, that the fact that we can tag a lot of people on Twitter and we can say that we had a great show because we actually saw so many things from so many generations. And it's beautiful. And that's what we do. It's WrestleMagic presenting Collision, and we're actually just doing something beautiful. You know, I mean, it is what it is.
I don't know if you guys
take that away.
Oh, I don't know if you guys realize, but we are spanning 4 generations here. Mark in his 50s, Michael in your 40s,
Yeah,
me in my 30s, and then Maverick in his 20s.
Oh, wow. Okay. You weren't, you got the real molasses there. So that's some, and thank you. I'm standing I'm so close to 50s. It's scaring me. Anyway.
But we have a friendship, and this is like what we're gonna do, and this is what we do, and this is beautiful. This is magic. This is Collision, and this is what we are gonna make people better for. But one thing I did not really tell you guys about is the fact that the other day I stubbed my toe going into the bathroom, and I damn near broke it, and it hurts a lot. So I'm going to tape up that, and with that, should we wrap up the evening?
Yeah, I think we give everybody a chance to say goodbye, and end this because this has been an easy show because it was a good show to review. So
that's
right
a
on.
great show,
No doubt.
On a high note, who wants to get out of here first?
Let's give it to the man across the pond.
There you go.
All right. So first off, I'd like to give a shout out to my friend Emily, who lives over in Ohio. Last time I was home, she actually went to a Comic-Con where Mick Foley was doing meet and greets, and she actually went up, got me an autograph, and had him give a video message to me. So I want to say thank you. Really appreciate it. Been friends for a while. Really, really appreciate all that. And I also want to give a shout out to everybody on this podcast family and all the listeners. Thank you for not booing me off the stage and being supportive. Really appreciate it. And yeah, I guess I'm out. If you guys want to contact me, I am now at Maintenance Mav on Twitter. And yeah, I guess I'll pass it to the captain.
Well, my nephew, I love you. And I love you. So, at 144, Captain.
You guys know where to reach him. We know where to reach us. Michael, you're right there, buddy. Let me take it.
Yeah.
So, Maverick, I'm
take it over.
Totally. I'm so jealous that you got that autograph from Mick. If you didn't already know, some of the listeners may know this. I do work at T-Mobile here in downtown, and part of my job is now I work with the truck team. Last month, I was at Comicpalooza here at the Convention Center in downtown, and the day that I went, Mick Foley was in the building signing autographs, but I was working. So, I didn't get to get it. But just knowing that I was in the same building as a legend like Mick, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was seeing people walking around with their wrestling shirts and their titles, and I knew where they were going. They were going to the second floor with their special badges to get that autograph. So, again, very jealous that you got his autograph. I do have a couple autographs myself from a couple wrestlers over the years. But that's another topic for another day. And Rocky's Club 007 Twitter, that's my handle if people want to reach out. Again, everybody knows ad-free on Patreon and Apple Podcasts and ad-free on Rocky T. Give me a follow, leave me a message, shout out on the mailbag, and I will pay for your first month of the NXT tier on Patreon. So, Mark, close us out, please, sir.
Rocky, did you have anybody take you up last week on your mailbag?
So we did the show Saturday, so we have the mailbag in a couple of days, actually. So nobody new besides New York High, who did it a few weeks ago. So just waiting for another person.
Man, somebody jump on that. That's a great deal. And also, Emily, Maverick's friend, next time you go, you can get two. I'll gladly, cash out. But anyway, anyway, guys, man, been a great
God,
show.
I love you guys. Thank you.
Oh man, been good, man. Easy show to do when you're having this much fun, but we do have to end it. My battery says so. So guys, for all of us, this is Memphis Mark. Rescue if you can, spay and neuter. And for everyone on this panel, which I greatly appreciate you listening, we're out.
And scene.
There we go. And my thing literally just came up and said, look.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.